welcome to our first official episode of the Rock Talk podcast, other than our launch series, of course, that we did. My name is Autumn Newsome. I am the recruiter here in Rockingham County and your host of the Rock Talk podcast series, where we talk about anything and everything to do with Rockingham County, who we are and what we are up to. So in our launch series, we briefly touched on aspects of our nursing home here on county campus, but we haven't gotten a chance to really dive into the unique experiences, the unique stories that our nursing home has to offer. So in order to help me talk about today's topic, I've brought in a couple of special guests from the nursing home itself. Jason Smith, our administrator and senior director of long-term care, two job titles there, and Jeseca Wendel, who is our public relations and community outreach manager. Welcome you both to the podcast.
Thank you, Autumn.
Thanks, Autumn. Happy to be here.
Yeah, likewise.
So I'd love to kind of dive in and allow our listeners to get to know you guys, get to know your background, your experience, and what had led you to your career here at Rockingham County. So if you guys want to kind of dive into that, that'd be great. Would you like to get started?
Certainly. Jason Smith. And let's see, I have been a nursing home administrator for close to 20 years now. I've been in long-term care for my entire life, starting in middle school volunteering in the activities department and working my way up over the years to be a licensed nursing home administrator in several different states, but New Hampshire is home to me. And so I have been in long-term care now for many, many years.
Great. And what led you to want to continue that career at Rockingham County?
So being born and raised here on the Seacoast area, I call this home. And so the opportunity at Rockingham County became available, and I applied and really fell in love with the culture and the community and serving those individuals that needed services for long-term care needs, assisted living to short-term skilled rehab to long-term care. The community offers many different levels of services, and that is really something that I have a lot of passion for, is supporting our aging services as individuals age in place and need support services from the greater community to a long-term care community.
Absolutely. And you've been here for, is it going on 3 years now?
I'll be approaching 3 years.
That's
yes.
Awesome. Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of good changes that have come.
A lot of changes, a lot of necessary changes that I think really bring our community up to date, but also looking forward to the future and looking at ways how we can strategize, but also be very innovative and deliver services to our residents that are really state of the art.
Absolutely. And what about you, Jeseca?
It's always so hard to follow Jason. So I actually got my start in long-term care and senior living a little bit later in life. After college, I started working for a community down in Massachusetts, and I really fell in love with it. I found it really rewarding and really enjoyed the work that I did. And I loved going in every day and helping people and meeting the residents and just getting the right services to the right people at the right time. So after that position, I ended up taking more of a sales and marketing role in the hospitality industry, where I worked at a wedding venue for about 6 years. Mm-hmm. And then I found this role at Rockingham County, which Jason actually was the mastermind behind. He created this role, so it was brand new to the organization, and it was a very intriguing job listing where there were a lot of different responsibilities and duties, and in interviewing and speaking to the whole team, it just seemed like the type of opportunity where I could do a lot of good for the local community. So I applied, and I've been here for about 2 years.
Right. Yep, absolutely. And you've made such great changes to the website and the communication to families and staff members. Our website just looks amazing now that you're here. So
thank you. Yeah, it was a labor of love for sure.
So I'd love to kind of dive into the nursing home itself. So let's go ahead and talk about how our nursing home services our older adults in our community. Jason, you've kind of touched on the different services that we have in our skilled rehab, assisted living, nursing home, and that kind of age-in-place model that we have. So what specific services do we offer to our older adults in the community that truly help them age in place comfortably?
Absolutely. So besides our nursing services, we provide 24-hour nursing services on site. So our residents have medical management. We have 5 different providers that oversee our residents' medical care, and they come once a week, which is a really nice benefit. We also have an on-staff nurse practitioner. So the nurse practitioner is there to help support our clinical staff to ensure that if there's any urgent matter, that they're addressed immediately. In addition, we have a host of different services, from social services, mental health, therapy services, to rehab services, where we have physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists. We have dietitians on staff. We have life enrichment. It's a fantastic opportunity for us to have a certified recreational therapist oversee our life enrichment department, and ensuring that our residents have the best possible opportunities to integrate not only physical activities, but also mental stimulation and the wellness wheel, the 6 aspects of the wellness wheel, to really ensure that our residents are getting all the services that they need. So in addition to that, we have environmental services and hospitality services, and the list goes on and on. But from the forefront, we also partner with external organizations as well, such as radiology, dermatology, optometry. We have podiatry. We have all of that.
All the trees.
All the trees that come on site and participate in the care of our residents. And then we also have quality assurance and risk management and many other aspects that help support the overall quality and the initiative of what our mission is every day, and what we inspire to be. So it's all we all are communicating and supporting each other to make sure that we all deliver the best care possible.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that,
no, I was just going to say, it's a huge operation over there. There's so many different moving parts and different divisions and different departments and shifts, and it all really comes together just to support this common goal of really supporting our residents. And then just to sort of give like a general overview of the services. So we offer short-term rehab. So for example, if an older adult fell in their home and they went to the hospital and it wasn't going to be safe for them to transition immediately home, they could stay in our short-term rehab and regain their strength and mobility for a short period of time. Then we offer assisted living, which is for individuals who need help with activities of daily living. So, dressing, bathing, hygiene, medication management. We also offer memory care for individuals who are living with Alzheimer's or dementia. And then we offer skilled nursing or long-term care as well. So we do offer that continuum of care. So all of those services that Jason was mentioning, those are available to all of the residents at all levels of care. So it really is comprehensive. And when people come in, even at that assisted living level, we're really overseeing their well-being as their care needs change.
Right. And they certainly can change, and that's why we're there to, help them through those changes of going through their aging process. So with all of those services, it definitely can be very important to continue our education as staff that's caring for our older adults in the community. Very important to continue our education to make sure that they are getting the services and care that they, deserve. So what does our staff do? What do you two do in order to continue your education and make sure that, the residents at our long-term care community, either short-term rehab, assisted living, nursing home, are getting the care that they need?
Sure. I'll take this on, Jessica.
Okay.
Feel free to jump in. Part of our regulatory requirements for long-term care and assisted living is that there are annual educational requirements that must be met. In addition to that, there's clinical competencies that must be achieved as well. So every year we have our mission is to make sure that all of our employees meet the deadline to get their required education done, such as resident rights, our compliance program. The list goes on and on and on. There's about 12 different educations modules that are required for all employees, and we use an online platform for that. In addition to that, with our clinicals, we do a skills fair, and that skills fair is for all of our employees, but we also have individuals that are specialized for the clinical team. So, for example, like our nurses, our LNAs, our MNAs, and I can licensed nursing assistants, licensed medical nursing assistants, and our LPNs, licensed practical nurses, and our RNs, registered nurse. So they all have requirements that have to be met. And so we work together with several key players within the organization to make sure that all of our staff have that education, that they are scheduled for that education, and that we're constantly monitoring compliance rate with our education. We also send many of our employees out for certain conferences and trainings so that they can understand, what's happening regionally and throughout the United States with best practices, modeled practices, and supporting our operations back home here.
But we also try to make learning fun.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, with our skills fair, we have had our infection preventionist set up a sort of escape room style challenge where she set up all of these different infection control breaches. And so staff had to go in and find the areas that were a problem. So it was a really hands-on approach as opposed to just those continuous online, modules, which are necessary, but, we like to break that up a little bit as well. We also are always willing to have guest speakers come in and provide education for our employees as well. So we've had individuals from the Alzheimer's Association come in and give presentations about dementia and communicating with those who might, have memory loss. We have had hospice organizations come in and give education on that as well. So, it's so important in healthcare to stay up to date. And so we're always trying to find different ways to keep our staff informed. And I think what's great about Rockingham County is that we are always trying to support our employees in their goals as well. So we have offered M&A programs where LNAs have been able to apply to kind of get that step up and become a medication nursing assistant. And we've also done LNA programs as well. And we also have the tuition reimbursement, which is a really nice benefit as well.
Right. Continuing education has always been of utmost importance to us. So it's good that so much of that is included. But, if not, then they do have access to that
Absolutely.
Tuition reimbursement.
In addition to that, I have to say that education is not necessarily just for our staff members and our team members in-house, and especially Jessica's role, which is very... The public relations aspect is we have a duty to educate our general public, our community members. And so Jeseca really tries hard to make sure that our general public, our resident family members, or those that are interested in learning about long-term care or just healthcare issues of facing our aging population, Jeseca supports that. And we've held, and she's hosted, different education sessions for the general public.
That's awesome. So I know that, Jason had touched base on your communication to families and keeping them informed and updated. So how exactly do we go about doing that? And what sort of unique and innovative ways do we make sure that our family members, visitors alike, are being continually educated, not only on the care that we provide, but the care that we provide to their loved ones?
Yeah, and I think that the something that the pandemic taught us is that transparency is always best, especially in this environment. Where loved ones might not always be able to visit the residents living here. So families really like to stay up to date and know what's going on within the community. With the COVID-19 pandemic, there was a regulation that we did have to notify families, residents, and staff every time there was a positive COVID case identified. So that really got us in that habit of those emergency response notifications. But, really since then, I think that we have really prioritized our communication efforts. So we've created social media accounts where family members can really follow along and see all of the day-to-day fun things that are going on. We have a blog. So, touching back on that education, I will write up educational pieces, post that on the blog, or any news or updates that we have. And then we also do newsletters as well. So we do a family newsletter, and then we do a monthly resident newsletter as well. So really lots of different channels that people can stay up to date. And then, of course, we have the traditional emails and phone calls as well. If it's a community-wide announcement that might need to go out, like if the phones were having an issue, phone lines were having an issue, or there was some sort of emergency, then that's how we would go about getting a hold of everybody.
Right.
I find that when I first came, there was a lot of channels of communication coming from various individuals. And I felt that it was really important to have one consistent voice delivering that message, that there was a point person that would be able to support the management team, as I refer to as the senior leadership team, and making sure that there was communication that was consistent, concise, that there wasn't opportunity for a variety of channels of communication. And so people interpret things differently. And so really the need for Jeseca's role was really transformed from that as communication. But in addition to that, that also flows over into the website. It flows into other channels of communication, such as social media, but also just direct contact with people and building relationships and forming those relationships and building bridges. And so in her capacity, it's such a vital role for our organization, because not only do we have, as I feel, a duty to support our own residents and family members, but we also have the rest of Rockingham County and our seniors in the greater community. And I know that's a lot on one person's shoulder. But, you try every day and you succeed so well with that. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
So I know you mentioned that it's important to not only communicate to our family members and folks in Rockingham County, but our residents are also a huge part of that. And our community itself is very big on resident rights and resident-centered care. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit and what initiatives and whatnot we have put into place to ensure that our residents are receiving resident-centered care. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
Well, I can
Sure,
speak to one thing.
Okay.
So I know one of the very first projects that Jason gave me, I think on day one that I started, was that we wanted to implement doing resident satisfaction surveys. That was something that wasn't being done. And if you don't have that data, then you really don't know if someone is having an issue or not. And so we launched those resident satisfaction surveys within, that first sort of year that I was here, and we have added on to that package of services. So right now we're surveying all levels of care, from short-term rehab residents to the long-term care residents. So those surveys really allow us to see where there are gaps, if we need to improve in any areas. So they talk about dining, they talk about life enrichment, they have questions about nursing, management, and really everything in between. So that's been a really helpful tool for us. In addition, we have resident counsel, but Jason has added on to that service, and we started doing something called fireside chats with the administrator.
Yes.
So once a month, Jason actually goes out onto the units and just has a really casual conversation with any of the residents that might want to join. We just sit and we chat and see how their days are going, how their weeks are going, exciting things we might have coming up. So those are just a few of the ways that I've seen since I got here.
It's such a huge component of hearing the voice of the resident is, I can walk around and residents don't always feel comfortable talking to me for whatever reason, or the families may not know who to speak with. And by implementing a survey process has really provided the opportunity for me to hear directly. And the system that we use and the technology that's integrated in it, it's just not a paper survey. There's a phone call, there's an email. So there's multiple ways for individuals or for their family members to complete the survey. And it immediately comes to me and many other individuals that may have a customer service concern, and we respond to that, and I'll investigate that. And we look at those things very, as part of our quality insurance program as well. So we look at those things very closely. In our assisted living community as well, we survey that organization. And with that being said, we have implemented many changes because of the customer service survey results, from aesthetics to dining programs to opportunities. And I have to say, most of the surveys, if not a good percentage, are very positive about our clinical services, our physician services, just everything that we do on a daily basis. But we always strive to do better. And even though our marks are good, there's opportunity for improvement. And so we really break that down and figure out how we can strategize and implement that. In addition, besides the customer service program, we have implemented our compliance program. And part of our compliance program is our hotline. And so our hotline is manned 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that is available for our staff, our family members, our residents, to be able to be in touch with somebody if there's a customer service concern. And though that report immediately comes to me, and I am the company that we contract with, there's a reporting timeline. And if I don't report something in a time frame, it continues to escalate. And so I implemented that because I really believe in that. The voice of the resident or the family member needs to be heard, and there needs to be proactive results. And so trying to really implement that is huge. In addition, not only am I always worried about the customer service aspect and the voice of the resident, but I'm also concerned about the voice of the employee. And because happy employees, happy customers. And so since I came on board, we started the culture committee. And the culture committee is a committee formed of our frontline staff and mid-level management and senior management. And they meet on a monthly basis, and they work really hard since I've been there almost 3 years to really help shift the culture, help make changes to make a more positive work environment. But not only that, it also reflects to our residents and seeing, wow, there's a lot of engagement going on with our staff. There's events going on with our staff. And it just kind of creates more activity, more positive comment. And so I think that also has contributed to satisfaction overall. In addition to that, there's the direct line, which our employees and family members can put comments in, and I'm the one with the key, and I receive those comments and be able to look into them for individuals.
Right, and the culture committee has done so many fun things these past few years. Goodness, we just had our barbecue. That's been really great to see. We've had plenty of celebrations when we've had deficiency-free surveys. going on 2 years of
Going
this
on
now.
2 years?
Yes. They always have things at the table for employees to take. They previously had like sunflowers to grow and just little things here and there. That's just a little pop of fun, in between the hard work that our employees have.
And as the interdisciplinary team, we really take the resident at the center of that, and we really try to support what the residents' goals are and what their mission is. And so the interdisciplinary team, which consists of many different players within the organization, really tries hard to achieve those results, whatever the results may be or the goals. We look at how we can create the best life possible for our residents. And that takes several people to make that happen. And it's not just nursing, it's not just dining services, it takes many players to make that happen. And so I think overall as a team, we take that very serious. The family member is also part of that team.
Absolutely.
They know their loved one very well. And so, we include them as part of that conversation. And we want to just make sure that at the end of the day, as that resident lives in our community and they're aging, that we support their needs all the way around. And we have that dialogue. And so we have care plan meetings, and those meetings really involve how we can support you or the resident as we age. They age.
Right.
And I think too, when an issue does arise, I think that our team is really good at looking at it from that root cause analysis standpoint. We have a pretty robust QAPI program, which is Quality Assurance and Performance Improvement. So when there are issues, we create performance improvement plans. And they can be really specific and ongoing PIPs, we call them. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we noticed there was an uptick in lost eyeglasses. So, like going and looking at, okay, what procedures and what processes can we adjust to change this and improve this outcome. And things like that. So when there are issues, we do have that interdisciplinary team that does meet quarterly, and often in between those quarterly meetings, to really see about how we can fix these issues.
And if I may, I think that our QAPI program, our quality assurance program, is really robust compared to what the requirements are. I take our quality system very serious, and there's many different channels of data that feeds up to our quality system. There's different committees, there's data from our EMR system, to our quality ratings, to our 5-star rating report, from our staffing, risk management, compliance. There's many different avenues that feed into this organization, and along with many outside providers and suppliers and ancillary support that participate in our program. And without all of those relationships and without all of the information being channeled upward, we look at big data, and we look at how we as a system can change in the way how we deliver care. And so, as Jeseca said, we have PIPs, and that's a performance improvement project. And so we as a team, collective team, we figure out which PIPs we want to work on as an organization, and we meet throughout the quarter to really focus on how we can change our system, protocol, policies to improve the overall delivery of care and services. And so when there are systems that aren't meeting our standard, we need to make change happen. And so I think that many organizations take the status quo as, okay, we'll just put a Band-Aid on it for now. Well, my belief is very different. If someone's not stepping up to the standards that I expect for our organization, then we're going to make a change. We're going to pivot and find another vendor, another provider, partner that can achieve those results for us.
Right. And speaking of QAPI and the PIPs that we have, I think it's important to talk about struggles, I guess, for lack of a better word, that nursing homes can typically go through, and how Rockingham County specifically gets over those struggles. So what specifically have we seen in the long-term care community that, communities might struggle with, and how we have put into place innovative ideas in order to get over those?
Jeseca, which one do you think is the biggest?
Well, I would say that probably the biggest is, as most people know, is staffing.
Absolutely.
So really every organization in the healthcare industry, hospitals, home care, there's, I don't think, a single organization that hasn't been affected by staffing in the past few years. I think that how we go about, combating that issue is by retaining the staff that we have. And we do that by, as we touched upon, really trying to change the culture of our division and of our organization. I think that having those appreciation events and, just different employee engagement opportunities is really important. I think that, you have done great with recruiting and looking at, not just the typical job posting, and just looking for other channels. And I think we've definitely embraced, using agencies when we've had to as well. And I know that that's sort of a controversial topic for some, but that's how we have managed to really get through these past few years. And I think that working with the agencies, it's been really important to us to treat those folks like they are our in-house staff members as well, and to make sure that everyone is treated the same, and to include them so that those agencies and travelers want to come back. Or if they ever meet someone who says, oh, hey, do you know a good place to work? They'll recommend us. So I think it's just really important to have to build those relationships and keep those folks happy.
Absolutely. I have to say the commissioners of Rockingham County have been very supportive, and the delegation as well, and that, we have seniors that need care, and many of them are home alone and failing, and they need support system. They need health care. And many qualify for assisted living or long-term care, or we even have partnered with adult day programming here in Rockingham County. There's 3 different adult day that we help support individuals of Rockingham County. But without all that being said, I think we in the Human Resources Department really works hard to look at salaries, really do a lot of research and benefit administration, where I'm very thankful that we have a robust benefit package. There's a retirement, state of New Hampshire retirement, pension plan. There's time off. I mean, there's a lot of great benefits. But we do have a lot of travelers, and without those partners of the travelers, we would not be able to sustain and maintain the current level of residents that we have. We still have a couple units closed due to staffing. But what I have to say is that what here at the county is I'm just not going to fill those beds. I have the support of the commissioners to say we still want to be able to provide a good product. We want to take care of our residents. We want to make sure that our residents are getting all the care that they need, and we just don't want to fill our beds. And so I know that a lot of for-profits are faced in challenging times, and some nursing homes have closed, for-profits have closed, nonprofits have closed, due to the fact that the increase of wages has really paralyzed the organization. And so I'm very fortunate that we continue to strive and bring residents in and still be able to keep our same staffing ratios, which I feel are very rich. And we do a great job. 2 years in a row, deficiency free. From the state, from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid and the state of New Hampshire Department of Public Health. We strive really, really high goals with that. And I think that it takes a village to achieve that. It comes from every partner that we have, every team member that works and supports operations. Takes many different divisions to make that happen, from human resources to the facilities department to IT, to achieve all those results. It's got to be flowing smoothly. And my role is, when things aren't, I step in and figure out a plan to move forward.
Yeah, I think regardless, we will make it happen for our residents, whatever it takes, whatever, agency we need to bring on. We're going to make it happen so that our residents can have the quality of life that they deserve.
Absolutely.
And that starts from the move-in process as well. Yes, I think it's important to talk about how we proceed with our move-in process to make the residents and families feel comfortable, what types of projects we've put in place, innovations that we've put in place to make sure that our residents feel comfortable and confident in their decision, or their family member's decision to have their care be here at Rockingham County. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I think that we have changed quite a bit of that process, even just from the first impression that family members have had, by updating the website and putting a lot of the information online in an accessible place where people can really find that information. Originally, we just had sort of a one-page home on the county website with information. And I think that was hard for people to navigate and understand. So now we have a lot of information on our website where families can go on, download the applications. They can learn everything they need to know about the community. And then they can also fill out a form to contact us and get in touch with the admissions department. From there, our admissions team, they reach out and connect with the resident or the resident's loved one directly and give them more information, schedule a tour, have them come in person, take a look around. And then we, going back to those partnerships, we have partnerships that can help families apply for Medicaid. We also have an in-house person who can help with that process as well. And then we have social services who is there for families and the new resident, and then the life enrichment team who can help get the new resident acclimated to their new home as well. And really everyone here is just there to make people feel welcome. I think that we do have a very inclusive community, and we, when we have new residents move in, I feel like they always feel so settled and right at home. But yeah, I think that it definitely starts with that first impression, and really all of these different departments coming together to make it a smooth transition, because it is overwhelming. There's a lot that goes into it, and we understand that, and the application process can sometimes seem a little daunting because there is a lot of documentation that we need in order for people to be able to move in to, especially the nursing home side. But we have a whole team of people who are there as resources.
I have to say that during COVID, one of the things that became very challenging is that we were not allowed to do tours. And so with that being said, Jeseca, we had a virtual tour set up. And so she coordinated with an outside company to come in and actually do a virtual tour. So if you go to our website, if a family member can't come on site or lives in another state and their loved one, is in the hospital for a particular illness and then comes to our community, they can actually see and walk through the halls and look at different rooms and different areas of our community, which is really cool. That is a great tool for individuals, their sons or daughters who live in California, for example, where they can actually start to feel a little bit more connected to the community. With that is just the overall face of our website. There's updated pictures. You feel more, it's not just a block website. I mean, it is truly pictures of our staff, of our residents, talks about our services. There's videos, there's blogs. It has a multi-purpose feel so individuals can feel connected with our community. There's also a lot of resources on that website, and just opportunities for individuals to communicate with us. At the time of admission, and Jessica's right, is that there is a lot of paperwork that needs to be completed. There's the admission packet. We need to have many clinical components, so we best know how to care for you, because on day one, we've never seen you before. And so, we have to have a history and physical. We want your medications. We want to be able to see if there's any medical history, nursing notes, progress notes from the physician, so we have a better understanding of how to care for you. This is where the family comes in and the resident wishes come in as well. And then our social services team, which is more of an advocate that really helps support through the transition, but even down to environmental services. Residents can bring in their own furniture. Residents can bring in, pictures and a chair or whatever that makes it feel more like home. Environmental services helps with making that happen. And our dining services as well. A dietitian will come and meet with the resident to really understand what their likes are and their dislikes, and really design a menu around what their preferences are. But also on the clinical side, there is a lot of assessments that need to be done upon entry into our community. And so taking the time, the nursing team will work and respect the individual, because they understand you may not be at your best at this particular moment, but that's when social services will really step in and help support them through that process. And I think it's about building relationships. It's about, as a caregiver, you're new to us and vice versa, and how can we support that individual? And so I think it takes time. There's trust, and we really work hard to achieve that. I think in any level of care, if you're here for a short-term stay after a hospitalization, if you are here for long-term care, or we help support individuals be able to launch back out into the greater community, back into their home once they hit baseline and achieved the ability to be independent, we will help support you through that process as well. If somebody needs home care services, we will make referrals and follow up with you to make sure that your discharge is going smoothly at home. Again, our adult day programming helps support that. But also in our community, and one of the very few county communities that has an adjoining assisted living community. And our assisted living community really is such a great asset to our county, in that we're always seem to be full in our assisted living.
Yes.
And which is nice. There is a need there, and we're supporting our community, which that's what our mission is. We are here to support our aging population, and with that, I think that we do a great job, and we continue to do a great job. And the commissioners have allowed me to really look out in the future and really start strategizing and developing master planning around what does the future look like for the seniors of Rockingham County. And I'm thrilled to be able to look at that and partner with Jeseca and many other stakeholders within our senior leadership team to really strategize and look at what is best for our community in the next 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or in the future. So I really look forward to that. But, in the meantime, we have a lot of work to do to achieve that, but it's been a pleasure serving this population.
We certainly have a lot of visionaries on our, leadership team and staff members alike over in the nursing home. So it's exciting to see what type of initiatives we always have going on. Every time I walk over to assisted living, something new is going on. I'm like, this picture frame's new. But really, we do have some great visionaries over in the long-term care community. And I'm excited to see, what the next few years have ahead of us. But it has been so great to hear about everything to do with the nursing home and how we care for our residents, our staff members, our leadership team, and the family members and community. I think our listeners have really gotten a chance to really get to know, you both a little bit more personally. So it's been great to have you on. I
Are
really
we done
do appreciate
already?
it. Yes, we are.
Oh, I feel like we just scratched the surface.
I know.
We could talk forever about this stuff.
Right? It really could. We could go on forever, but we have been talking for about 45 minutes now. So,
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you both so much. It's been great to hear, about the nursing home, and I look forward to, the next few years ahead.
Likewise.
Yeah, so do we. Thank you, Autumn.
Thank you.